Since I'm the fusion of Vegeta and Kakarot, I guess that makes me Vegeta. And this is Super Vegito!
What's going on, guys? Vegito here, and this is part 2 for possibly my second most popular series at the time, being What If Lance sponsored Ash. As I'm going to keep this intro brief, since I had the last 4 gym badges, the Indigo League, and the Orange Islands to cover. So 150 likes for part 3, so let's get started. As I'm also going to explain why Butterfree is still on the team in this timeline. To actually be more competent, he decides to let the pink Butterfree come with him. So this way Butterfree can be happy and won't have to leave. As the gang had to go to Celadon City for Ash's 5th gym battle, as Ash catches a Mankey. As he sends Butterfree to Oak Slab so you can see Pink Butterfree. And his Team Rocket wouldn't have kicked Mankey in this timeline, so it's not gonna go to Primeape yet. And Ash's gym battle with Erica. What happens is actually just Charmander, Pidgeotto, and Gabite. As he called it back from Oak due to Ash due to Lance training and sponsoring him, he even wanted Erica as a grass type gym leader. That and he'd know his type matchups. As Erica descended her Tangela, as Ash called it Pidgeotto. As Pidgeotto has been doing some training since we last saw it, and managed to learn Aerial Ace during time at Oak's lab. As Pidgeotto will be able to use that to its advantage as he uses Aerial Ace in tandem with Quick Attack. It essentially blitzes Tangela. This would work, knocking out Tangela. As it gets knocked out, it hits Pidgeotto with a Stun Spore. And as we're using Gen 1 logic here, if you get hit by a Stun Spore, you get taken out of the match. As the Erica calls in her Weaving Bell, as Ash tries calling Charmander next. Remember what I said in the last part? Lance taught us about type matchups, and so the type advantage does not guarantee the win. As due to its rivalry with Gabite, Charmander would train a lot harder. As a result, it would learn how to use Flamethrower, as it would take it to its advantage, learning to decimate Weaving Bell. As Erica's in her Gloom, and the same thing happens, allowing Ash to score his 5th badge. And it's through normal means this time, as Ash is getting to the P1 fighting tournament, so Ash decides to enter his Mankey. As due to having more time as a Mankey, it would actually listen to Ash right off the bat. And its first opponent, the Machamp, as Mankey is severely outclassed. This is enrages Mankey, which causes evolution into Primeape. As Anthony would see how strong Primeape is, as if Primeape wins the tournament like in canon, as Anthony would come up to Ash as he can train Primeape for him. Now, Ash agrees, found a condition that he can call it back when needed. Ash is a more competent trainer in this timeline, so he wouldn't make stupid mistakes. That's basically getting scanned out of his strongest Pokemon at the time, as in Primeape temporarily leaves the team. And then Ash gets Ruji City, aka the city where Ash catches Muck. As that whole encounter goes the same, so it replaces Pikachu with Elekid. As then in a comedic fashion, Ash again get lost into the dojo as they go return to the Future City Gym. As that battle is a 2v2 with Koga using his Banana and Golbat, as Ash using Charmander and Elekid. As Koga calls in Venonat, as Ash calls in Charmander. And then like in canon, Venonat evolves into Venomoth, and Charmander being stronger than canon, this battle will go a lot easier. As Venomoth just gets the worst sunburn ever by a flamethrower. As Venomoth gets knocked out, leaving Koga with just 1. He sends in his Golbat, as Golbat then knocks out the weakened Charmander. His action calls in Elekid, as Elekid uses his Thunder Punch to try and fight Golbat. But due to Golbat being able to fly, this doesn't really work. As Elekid uses his Thunderbolt, it just connects to ground Golbat. As Elekid then goes for Thunder Punch, which would knock out Golbat. As the experience got from that battle caused Elekid to evolve into Electabuzz. As Ash gets his Soul Badge in the Safari Zone episode happens, with Ash not catching 30 Tauros. He still catches 1. He also catches a Rhyhorn and a Dratini. This is the Dragonair shows up in the episode's baby. As he would want to go with Ash and get strong. As well as Rhyhorn and Dratini go to Oak's lab for right now. As in the Bulbasaur's Garden episode happens. As Bulbasaur sees Gabite and Electabuzz obeying Ash, it decides to swallow its pride and evolve into Ivysaur. As the carnival happens, Charmander evolves into Charmeleon. As once again, to actually be a more competent trainer, Charmeleon would actually obey Ash in this timeline. And like I said, not only to be a more confident trainer, but also its rivalry with Gabite. And the attack on the prehistoric Pokemon happens as Aerodactyl still abducts Ash. But this time, instead of Charmeleon evolving, Gabite evolves into Garchomp to try and save its trainer. And also about Aerodactyl. As the Jigglypuff thing happens, like I said, we're gonna go like underground. One of Ash's empty Pokeballs rolls over to it while it's sleeping and catches Aerodactyl, bringing Ash's team back to 6. As they escape to Ash's Cinnabar Island gym battle, as Ash uses Squirtle, Aerodactyl, and Charmeleon. As Blaine uses Ninetales against Aerodactyl, as Aerodactyl goes for Rock Tomb, and Ninetales goes for Fire Blast. As two moves clash, with Rock Tomb winning. As everybody knows, rocks put out fire. As an Aerodactyl goes for Hyper Beam to finish off Ninetales. Notice as this works, knocking it out. As then Blaine calls him Rhydon, and he uses Rock Slide to bring down Aerodactyl. As Aerodactyl uses the last of its power, using a powerful Sky Attack. As then Rhydon uses a Starter Punch to knock out Aerodactyl. But due to the Sky Attack, Rhydon takes severe damage. As Ash calls in Squirtle to fight Rhydon next. Now you go for Water Gun. As due to being a quad effective attack, Rhydon goes down. Blaine calls in his Magmar to knock out Squirtle. As Ash calls in Charmeleon, and so their battle goes the same as the canon, as Charmeleon evolves into Charizard in this battle, allowing Ash to get his Volcano Badge, as Charizard, Aerodactyl, and Garchomp will essentially have a three-way rivalry. And Ash rides Viridian Gym, as nothing really changes in that battle, as if anything, due to Ash's stronger Pokemon, it would be easier, as Garchomp would just decimate Machamp, Kingler, and Rhydon, as well as Arbok and Weezing. As Ash gets the Earth Badge, and then Ash and the gang ride back to Pallet Town training for the League. As Ash meets back with his two Butterfree, Pidgeotto, Magikarp, Tauros, Rhyhorn, and Dratini. As Gary arrives and asks Ash and Garchomp for a battle. As Gary sends in his starter, which reveals to be a Blastoise. As Blastoise uses Hydro Pump to fight off Garchomp's Dragon Claw. As Garchomp uses a powerful Earthquake attack to knock it out. While Blastoise showing Gary the difference in power between Garchomp and Blastoise. Plus, Gary is more motivated to train, and plus, he teaches Blastoise how to use Ice Beam to try and counter Garchomp, due to him knowing that it's a Dragon Ground type. As we'll just skip to the League, and the first round against Mandy is on the water field, as Ash has used Magikarp and puts a Krabby, since Ash never caught Krabby in this timeline, as well as Squirtle and Electabuzz, just in case. As Ash had a Magikarp against Mandy's Exeggutor, as this would go the same as in canon, but Magikarp out of sheer rage evolves into a powerful Gyarados, as it decimates Mandy's Exeggutor, Seadra, and Golbat. As Ash advances to the next round, only using his Gyarados, the second round happens the same, since the only Pokemon shown for Ash's opponent is a Nidorino, as Gary evades past his third round, due to his Pokemon being stronger than in canon. It's Ash's third and fourth round opponents go the same, except Garchomp plays Pikachu, Ivysaur plays Bulbasaur, and Ash uses Charizard in the fourth round, since it obeys him in his timeline. As Ash meets Richie, befriends him, as Ash has to deal with Team Rocket stalking him the whole day. Like, seriously, guys, take a hint! As Ash Pokemon are being tired, as Ash uses Squirtle, Electabuzz, and Charizard. As Ash wouldn't want to over-rely on Garchomp. As Ash and then Squirtle against Richie's Butterfree. And this battle goes the same, as Ash calls Electabuzz and knocks out Butterfree, as well as Charmander. And then Sparky the Pikachu takes down Electabuzz, as Charizard comes up to finish the fight. As Ash advances to the quarterfinals, as Ash's opponent revealed to be Gary. As battles at full 6v6, as Gary is using Blastoise, Arcanine, Alakazam, Nidoking, Scyther, and Golem. It's actually Garchomp, Electabuzz, Gyarados, Ivysaur, Charizard, and Dratini. As Garchomp and Blastoise come out first, as Ash and Gary says, "Wow, so Garchomp's up first. Alright, Blastoise, time to put our training to the test." As Ash and Garchomp are surprised to see Blastoise come out first, as Blastoise uses Hydro Pump to fight Garchomp. As Garchomp then goes for two Dragon Claws to block the Hydro Pump, and deals some good damage as Blastoise uses Ice Beam to freeze his leg. Garchomp's legs. As Garchomp uses his Flamethrower to free itself, as Garchomp goes for Dragon Rush by Blastoise's Ice Beam, as this will result in a double knockout. And in case you were wondering why I did it like this, I had their starters knock each other out early on, so this way we can't see these other Pokemon, and so Ash can rely on Garchomp to cheese to win for him. As battle is down to 5 each, as Ash called Electabuzz next against Gary's Nidoking. And this doesn't go too well for Electabuzz, as Nidoking knocks it out with an Earthquake attack. But Nidoking does take a Brick Break, as Ash is down to 4 Pokemon, as Ash calls in his Dratini. Let's go for Dragon Rage, as Nidoking just feels sorry for it. As Nidoking goes for Thrash, but out of sheer determination to win, Dratini manages to evolve the Dragonair. He uses Dragon Tail to send Nidoking back to its ball. As Gary is into Alakazam, and he uses Psychic to swing Dragonair off like a ragdoll, knocking it out. As Ash only has Gyarados, Ivysaur, and Charizard left. As Ash holding Gyarados, then knocks out Alakazam with Crunch. As Gary's in the Golem next, I go for Stone Edge, as Gyarados goes for Waterfall. as this result in double knockouts, as Ash is down to 2 and Gary is down to 3, as Charizard comes out against Nidoking, as Nidoking is already weakened, as it goes down to a seismic toss. As Gary hits an Arcanine, as it goes for close combat and then Thunderfang, as Charizard gets paralyzed, and in a last-ditch effort, it goes for Flamethrower, but Howard does little damage as Charizard then goes down. And Ash's last Pokemon is Ivysaur, as he goes on Arcanine's Fire Blast, as this knocks Ash out of the tournament, as Gary advances all the way to the finals, but he gets knocked out by some random trainer right to Raichu. As in the party having Lightning Cannon, as Professor Oak tells Ash to go to the Orange Islands in the GS Ball. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I'm just gonna keep the Orange Islands brief. So I'll just discuss the important bits, as Ash catches Lapras and Snorlax, and meets Tracy. Ash gains the Coral Eye badge using Squirtle and Gyarados. The Sea Ruby badge, using Lapras, Garchomp, and Charizard, beats Rudy with Squirtle, Ivysaur, and Electabuzz, and gets a Spike Shell badge, using Garchomp and Charizard. As now, we have the battle with Drake, as this battle is also a full 6-on-6. As Ash tries to make some calls to get a Primate for this battle, as Ash uses Garchomp, Charizard, Ivysaur, Gyarados, Electabuzz, and Primeape. As Drake and Ditto gets Primeape, as Primeape showing off his training, just mauls Ditto before he can use Transform. As Drake gets an Onix, as that has had the same result. As Gengar comes out third for Drake, it just knocks out the entire Primeape with Psychic Cannon and a Shadow Ball. As Drake has 4, while Ash has 3. As then Ash the Gyarados, as he goes for Crunch, as Gengar goes for the Shadow Ball to Gyarados' open mouth. As like the battle of Gengar and Lapras, this results in a double knockout, as Ash and Electabuzz hits Drake's Venusaur, as Electabuzz tanks a Solar Beam, as Electabuzz goes for Fire Punch, as Venusaur goes for Sludge Bomb, and then Solar Beam deals major damage into Electabuzz as it goes for Fire Punch in one arm and Ice Punch in the other, as it ends in Venusaur getting knocked out, as Drake sends in his own Electabuzz, and knocks out Ash's Electabuzz. As then Ash called in his Ivysaur, I could say this battle goes the same as in canon, but considering that Ivysaur is stronger than Ash's Cannon Bulbasaur, as Ivysaur gets knocked out, but Electabuzz takes severe damage. And afterward, as then Charizard comes out, as that battle goes in canon, leading to Drake sending in Dragonites as their battle plays out in canon. As Ash on his last Pokemon, as he sends in Garchomp. As Garchomp then goes for Outrage, as Dragonite we get knocked out after their Outrage. As we'll lead off this timeline for right now. So be sure, or like it, 150 likes guarantees a part 3. I'm out. Peace.